do I have more pets? I do have more pets. So I have Silkies. I have a flock of Silkies. I also have dogs. We used to have sheep. Hopefully we'll get some more sheep and maybe a goat. What do you think, Pretzel? But for now, lots of chickens and some border collies. Do they live in the house? Pretzel is a house chicken. Hi, Pretzel. Pretzel is definitely a house chicken. That every day. Oh, hi. I can hear little chirps. Look, our friend's about to join.
Easy. You have to say hello. You don't want to say hello?
Hello.
You want to say
hello, Pretzel?
It's Pretzel, your idol.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Pretzel. Yes. So this is the Silky Chook. I can't actually see you, Michelle.
You can see me. I can see you.
Oh, okay. I can't see you though. Can everyone see two screens, or is it just me and Pretzel? Pretzel's big head, big fluffy head. Hi, friends.
Let's see if people can see both of us. I don't know how lives really work.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that I can see, yep, two screens. How strange. I don't see two screens.
Let's see if I press.
I think it's something from mine.
They can see me.
It's the magic from this end because Pretzel wants the full screen. Isn't that right, Pretzel?
And Vanessa wants to meet her idol.
Hey, look. Pretzel. Hi. Choo.
So for people that don't know, Vanessa is also blind, and Kelly have been helping me a lot when I first got the diagnosis of Vanessa being blind.
Well, she's looking good. She's looking good. Oh my goodness, Pretzel is leaning in for hugs.
I didn't know that Pretzel was 5 years old. She is pretty old or young.
Yeah. Pretzel? She's very quiet. She was chirpy. She was super happy. And now she's just, there we go. Very quiet this evening.
She's shy. But for questions, we are recording this. I have a podcast in Sweden, and I wanted to ask Kelly some questions, especially through your struggle with vitamin A deficiencies, because I don't really think many people know about it.
Yep.
And also, of course, about Pretzel's life in general.
Yeah.
But
well,
you have mostly your followers here, but for people that will listen to our podcast, can you present yourself? What's your name and why do you have chickens? How does your flock look like?
Okay, so my name is Kelly, and I'm the person behind the Chookens flock, the Chookens accounts. I'm obsessed with my chickens. If you had asked me many years ago, I would have just said, no, you're crazy. But I have become completely obsessed, very passionate about my chooks and just looking after them and sharing whatever knowledge our avian vet shares with us and our experiences. So I have 12 Silkies, actually 11 Silkies and one Polish. Hi, Pretzel. And this is my visually impaired Silkie, Pretzel. She is a house chicken. She lives indoors, but she is outdoors every day for many, many hours. The reason why she lives indoors is because, number one, she's visually impaired, so I need to make sure that she's eating well, and her dietary intake is at the very, very bare minimal, so we make sure that she's eating. But also she's at the bottom of the pecking order. So if I do place her in the flock, they will attack her and, kick her out of the group. They can be bullies. Chickens can be quite aggressive, hence the pecking order.
Yeah.
So my chickies are not too bad, but with Pretzel, they don't really want her near. They will pick on her. So she does live indoors. Every now and again, Pearl will come in, Prince will come in, but we don't try and integrate her into the flock anymore because they do get quite aggressive and they peck on her and they bully her, and we don't want that for Pretzel.
How
No.
did you notice? How did you notice that she was blind when it first started?
We knew she was blind because she would struggle to find food, firstly, and she would peck the ground, almost tip the ground to see where she was, what her surroundings looked and felt like. She would also sit on a rock every night, a specific rock right out front of the door. She didn't know how to get into the coop. So every night, like clockwork, we'd go out and we'd have to pick Pretzel up and put her in the coop. She wasn't able to get into the coop anymore. And that's when we knew that there was something wrong. So we started bringing her indoors, feeding her, making sure she was getting her vitamin A, her calcium, and we noticed an improvement in her feather quality and her overall persona. We also noticed that since she was visually impaired, she started, her other senses were heightened. So she does talk back. She will make comments. She'll chirp away. She's very, very vocal. For most chooks, yes, you'll hear a cluck, cluck occasionally, but Pretzel will respond, and she purrs all the time. Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of what you're describing is what I noticed first as well with Vanessa. She has her little tree stump she likes to sit on, and she doesn't like when you remove her from the coop because she makes happy noises when you put her down on that tree stump, so she feels safe. But Vanessa, she didn't start displaying symptoms until like 2 weeks in her diagnosis, because I did notice her eyes first, that her eyes started to turn gray. That's how I noticed that something was wrong.
Yeah.
And then she had like double vision, couldn't find like if I held some food in front of her, she had a hard time picking the food on the right place.
Oh, poor Nessie.
Too bad
Funny
you can't
enough,
see her.
Sorry?
Too bad you can't see her with the double screen.
I know. I don't know why. It's so bizarre. I could only see myself and Pretzel.
Look,
Pretzel, that's a bit
Pretzel.
weird.
Or you can't look. You can hear Pretzel. You like to talk as well. But this vitamin A struggle that you've been having, it's like almost a year ago, I think, you posted about the vitamin A. How did you first notice the vitamin A struggle within your flock?
Well, we initially didn't think that it was a vitamin A deficiency. We had no idea. We thought it could have been their diets. So we changed their food, and we noticed that some of the chooks were still quite lethargic. So the best thing that we did was find a really good avian vet, and they're very, very hard to find in Sydney. I've gone and I've spent thousands and met avian vets from all over the place, and they have misdiagnosed my chickens. They have provided me incorrect advice. Most of the vets that you see they don't specialize in avian science. It's just cat, dog, pet, not necessarily bird. So the best thing we did was get a blood test. So we found a great doctor, Dr. Robin Carlingford. We got a blood test done, and that blood test immediately told us that their vitamin A reserves were quite low. And it was interesting because when they get their vitamin A shot, you see an immediate reaction. They're bubbly, they're talkative, they're food intake increases. They're a lot more social. Their feather development and quality improves as well. And you see that all within the first few days of giving them a shot.
Wow, that sounds amazing, because while I pretty fortunate to have a good avian vet, she doesn't really talk about testing specifically for different vitamins. But why do you think their vitamin A reserves was so low? Is the feed in Australia not as good, or could it be if for them being silkies or something like that?
So I think in Australia, the feed is average. Yes, we do have premium brands. I won't name them. However, a lot of the mixes that they produce, and I'm sure a lot of people have come across this, the way they package the food can create mold spores. You open up bags and then you see the food's not crisp. It's not, not very good. The food is average. Okay. And I don't think there's enough science, or people aren't investing in the science. Yes, our feed does not contain enough vitamin A. I also think generally, though, for silkies, they require a lot more vitamin A than most breed of chicken. Whether that's because of how delicate they are, the fact that they tend to have more issues with ovary dysfunction, ovary inflammation, neurological disorders. Vitamin A does prevent a lot of those things. So it's very, very hard to distinguish what's causing what and if it's a consequence of something else. But I think overall the education of the food is not to the standard that it needs to be in Australia.
And it was like I talked with you yesterday, changing the view on poultry to get more poultry viewed as pets, and the feed and the knowledge need to come up to a higher level to view them as pets, and people just see them as disposable things, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's
but
pretty.
My avian vet told me a lot, just what you said, that because like you have seen, I have had to euthanize 2 of my silkies, and I asked her, why is this happening? And she said, because they are silkies. She said the majority of the chickens that come to her clinic are silkies, and it's sad.
It has to do, it actually goes back to the egg, and it has to do with the temperature of the incubation period. So it goes all the way back to the egg. I just got a question. Can they eat raw natural food? Yes, they can. They will eat fish, chickens. When you say raw food, I'm assuming not raw meats. It's not something that I would recommend, but fish. They can have raw, clean, fresh fish, salads, veggies. They love their kitchen leftovers. Hi, Pretzel. Hi.
Fun fact, in Sweden, we are actually not allowed to give anything that could possibly have been contacted with meat. Due to I think it's called mad cow disease, the outbreak that was before. So actually, we are not allowed to give them anything that comes from our fridge. We are only allowed to give them raw chicken, the chicken food that's meant for chickens. But a lot of people does not follow this. Because it's a crazy rule. I have given my chickens a lot of stuff from the fridge anyway, because it's a really silly rule.
I just got to say, someone said sardine Sundays. We have tuna Tuesdays. So on Tuesdays, these babies get lots of cans of tuna. So I love that, sardine Sundays. Natural food, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But another curious question: how are people viewing chickens or poultry in general in Australia? Are people open-minded, or is it like here that they are disposable?
Um, okay, so I can't comment for the poultry community. So that's a much wider community. You got pigeons, turkeys, guinea fowl. But for chickens, I think it's still a growing niche. People aren't as well educated on the proper care and dietary requirements. This is reflected in how hard it is to find an avian vet. It's not very common. As pets, they make wonderful pets. They make great companions. But I think a lot of people still see them as commodities. Have them in the backyard to lay an egg. They are sentient. They feel. They love. They talk. They're incredibly intelligent. They're very, very smart. Pretzel will talk to me. She's leaning in because she knows that I'm here and that I'm talking, and she's enjoying these hugs. You know, I just wish there was a lot more education around that and people understood how wonderful they were. And that's part of the reason why we share our adventures and part of the reason why we started sharing online.
Yeah, and I had never really thought of vitamin A until you published your story about vitamin A deficiencies, and reading up on vitamin A and seeing how you can so easily mistake it for a respiratory infection. I bet you
Yes.
thought Pretzel had a respiratory infection first when she started wheezing.
Yes. So Pretzel did start wheezing a few weeks ago, and my immediate reaction was, okay, chronic respiratory illness. There's got to be something there. Pretzel has actually developed asthma. I can say this because we've had tests done. We've gotten her checked. It is caused by vitamin A deficiency because the organs then place too much pressure, in the gizzard, in the crop, and then that affects all of this area here. So once she now gets regular vitamin A shots as soon as she starts wheezing, and then the wheezing stops.
That's
So it's really
amazing.
fascinating. Yeah.
I have only heard that my vets, I haven't really asked, but that they give vitamin B shots. I have never really heard of any other vitamin because I have had 2 birds with wryneck, and then a lot of people know vitamin E are essential for that. And for having a wryneck, getting a shot of vitamin E would help a lot.
Yeah, and it does. Generally, it does. Vitamin A does, but you need vitamin A for bone development. You need vitamin A for neurological development and fixing the neuron pathways. You need that for feather development, organ function, visibility. So I know that vitamin A actually affects the retina, the pigment in the retina, to then help them lay eggs. And then it also ensures that, because when a chicken's vitamin A or calcium deficient, they actually draw the minerals from their body. So they tap into their own reserves and they can make themselves very, very sick. So if their vitamin A reserves are high and they've got a good diet and they get regular shots, they're less likely to develop, develop like ovary inflammation and, liver, kidney failure. So, yeah, very important.
We have usually always ask a question, and having Pretzel, I can guess what your answer is. But what do you think about special need birds? Not only blind birds, but other special needs as well.
I think they're incredibly special. I think they're incredibly unique. And unfortunately, a lot of people have the mentality of it's just the chicken, euthanize it. And a lot of the vets that I have seen in the past have said that to me, just put Pretzel down. There's no quality of life there. There's no longevity of life there. Just put her down. I think it's unfortunately when I think of special needs chickens, I think that they're a minority. They get cast aside. They're just seen as meat, and then they've just been told euthanize them. I am a big advocate for if you have a good avian vet, okay, and if you have the tools at your disposal, and I think before you adopt any animal, you should really weigh up whether or not financially you're able to invest in the time and whatever it takes. So, I think special needs chickens do need a little bit more support. I think, unfortunately, a lot of the time they get discarded or disregarded, but they're beautiful. Pretzel's wonderful. She's, one of many examples. She can't see. She chirps. She purrs. What she can't do, she makes up in other areas. She's a very unique, very, very unique little pom-pom. And we're very, very lucky to have her in our flock.
I got told by people, especially that they got sad when I posted the videos of Vanessa seeing her walk around. But I saw success because she could move around. She could move around without vision, and my vet was the only one to tell me that she has quality of life. As long as she can live a pain-free life, she has quality of life.
Yeah. And I think, she's in good hands. Yeah. And I think she's definitely in good hands. You love her. You always try and look out for her. I know that she eats well. She gets her exercise, and that's fantastic. I think most people in your position would have euthanized their chook at that point, which is really frustrating. But anyway, I've got a comment. My Polish rooster developed a neck injury, and now he lives inside with us. Another special needs chook. Cluckingham Palace. Yes. I made him a neck brace, but he won't wear it. He used to be my arch nemesis, and now he's my best buddy. Aww.
So
very,
cute.
very lucky. Yeah, very lucky. Your rooster's a very, very lucky boy.
But I like what you said about veterinary care, because a lot of people, they say, I don't have money to go to the vet or take a chicken to the vet, but then you shouldn't get that animal. You should have the financial. I have told people around here that I will take out a loan to get my chickens the care they deserve, because they shouldn't be in pain because I don't have any money.
Yeah, they're living beings, and you're right. I know that they're a cheaper pet to purchase in the get-go, but let me tell you, chickens are bloody expensive. It is one of the most expensive. I think they are one of the most expensive animals that you can raise. Once they get sick and you go and see an avian vet, forget it. You're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars. I can tell you, and I've gone through, we have spent since 2018 almost $19,000 on my flock.
Oh,
it's a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. And unless you know what you're doing, maybe just, immerse yourself, have conversations, reach out to avian vets, do the research. It requires a lot of time.
How many avian vets do you have? I know your avian vet is a bit older. How do you feel when he will retire? Will he teach someone else?
Yes. Well, okay, so that's a very good point. We are incredibly nervous, very, very anxious about what's going to happen with our avian vet. He is much older. He does not want to go into retirement because he's also aware of the fact that we in Australia, New South Wales, do not have great avian vets. Now, I have met avian vets, happy to name them offline, happy to tell you where not to go. They have misdiagnosed my chooks. They have given me wrong information. A lot of them don't even say, let's get a test to just clarify what it is. It's just misinformation. Whereas my avian vet is thorough. When he goes, it's going to be a big problem. So I am currently working on a few things behind the scenes. I've been trying to when I take Pretzel the flock to the vet, I will record him. I will capture whatever information he shares with us, and I share it to my Instagram and Facebook pages. But we are looking at capturing a lot more of that information so that in future everyone's got access to the correct information.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know a lot of people have a lot of knowledge on the internet, but you get a lot of misknowledge as well, just as you go to the wrong vets.
Yeah.
But I trust my avian vet that much. So when she told me that my two shooks that I have to put down, that they can't live like this. It's no quality of life. I trusted her, and I even if I didn't want to make that decision, I did trust her that it was best for my bird. And I did trust her that much. And I told her last time that you will not quit this clinic. I will follow you Sweden around.
Yeah, I hear you. A good avian vet is worth their weight in gold. Yeah. Greetings from Switzerland. Greetings from Sydney, Australia.
Oh, it's so like Australia is literally across the world from Sweden. It's so fascinating because we are around lunchtime here. You can see a lot of green forest, but whatever. Pretzel's routine. You told me about her routine. I know I take Vanessa inside 2 times a day to make sure she eats. You told me so. How does Pretzel's day start?
Okay, so Pretzel is a very spoiled indoor chicken. She has her own teepee, so she sleeps in her own little teepee bed. Yeah, okay. So in the morning, I guess the day begins with me opening up the teepee, yes. Me taking Pretzel out of the teepee, yes. And letting her just sort of walk around, feel around her surroundings. Yeah, hi. And then she eats. So she has her pellets in the morning. At that point, I clean out the teepee. I make sure that it's all nice, hygienic for her. I wash her little rainbow perch. And then I'll cut up some, if it's not tomatoes, maybe I'll give her a little bit of clover or finely chopped grass so it doesn't impact her crop. Hi. And pumpkin. We alternate between like a pumpkin. Yeah, so she gets something, a little treat early in the morning. And then I will do a quick check over. So I always give her a crop rub like I am now, and I check to see how much food she's eating. So I always check her crop. I'll do that 3 or 4 times a day just to make sure there's enough water, that it's not too tough, it's not too watery. And I also check her breath. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I will put my nose to her beak and I just check because anything yeasty, I'm just mindful it could be a crop issue. So I check her every day. And then I take her outside, and then she's outside for the full day while I work. But I can see her. I can see her the whole day.
That's so amazing, because I know when you posted a vet visit that she had some issues with her bones, that she wasn't moving around as much as she should.
Yeah, she's actually got she's actually got osteoporosis. I don't think I've ever met a chicken with so many hurdles, but there you have it. Yes, when we went to the doctor last, and I shared that X-ray, and I shared him, going through that X-ray and describing what it was that Pretzel had. But yeah, she's actually got osteoporosis, so it's a bit of a catch-22. I put her outside, so she gets sunshine. She gets vitamin D, which helps her absorb vitamin A for organ function. But she does not walk around. She needs to be walking around. But most of the time she just sort of blobs like this. She'll do this all day, which is not good. So I'll play at her feet. I'll pick at her so she walks. Yeah. What do you think, Pretzel? There's a lot happening in your world.
I
Poor
Really
Pretzel.
appreciate that you have shared the Pretzel's journey, because I told my vet about Pretzel and what she's going through, and asked, should I be mindful about this with Vanessa, because she doesn't move around a lot either, but she sits a lot outside on her little tree stump. If I would place her on the ground now, she will go looking for her tree stump and jump up there.
So Pretzel will look for Pearl. And when she finds Pearl, she'll stand next to Pearl and they huddle. So all the photos on my feeds where you see my two chooks standing next to each other, that's Pretzel. She'll go up and she'll nuzzle into Pearl and she'll stay close. When Pretzel wants to come inside, she tells me. So she starts circling. She tells me, I want my nest. I want to come inside. So you'll see her just going around and around in circles. And when I see that, I pick her up, I bring her in, and then she's calm again. So they are very intelligent.
When I know you put the implant on Pretzel after all her health issues, but how was she with the egg laying before, and how different do you see her now? Is she a lot healthier with the implant?
Okay, well, Pretzel was actually a fairly strong layer. She would lay an egg maybe once a day, every 2 days. She was laying frequently. However, in the last year or so, she started laying micro, very, very small eggs. We call them fairy fart eggs, just small little eggs. And that's okay, but they became less frequent, which was a little bit concerning, because then you know that something's not working in the ovaries, with her vitamin A reserves. We know that something's not working. So we got her checked, and we noticed that she had inflammation of the ovaries. And for her to be able to recover, we needed to give her an implant. Now, I know a lot of people are against it. I'm for implants. I think that if a chicken requires that extra support, switch off their ovaries. It's a temporary thing. It also gives the body enough time to, build up their reserves, calcium, vitamin A, vitamin B reserves, so that they're able to lay again and healthily. So yes, she's had an implant. We noticed that after the implant, she was a bit quiet for the first 2 days. I think it's because it does take a bit of time for them and their bodies to settle. But then after that, she was completely fine, walking around, having a great time. Very, very happy. Very happy.
How are the vets mindful too? I know you have a good AVM vet, but I know in the States it's illegal to give the implant to chickens, and they really needs to have a life or death situation to get the implant. Or are the vets open to the implant in Australia?
Yep, absolutely. Over here, we're very pro implant. So long as you can prove that there's something going on with their egg laying, with their ovaries, yes, they won't just give it out willy-nilly, but it is readily available.
Here you can just ask if you want the implant for your chicken because you don't want eggs. You can get the implant for that. I chose to give Vanessa the implant because she was egg laying was very stressful for her. I noticed that she got a lot of anxiety, a chicken with anxiety, when she was about to lay an egg. And we noticed afterwards that she had these egg follicles, I believe it's called, pressing on her lungs. So when she got the implant, her breathing got a lot better.
Yes, and a lot of people don't realize how important ovary function, again, back to vitamin A, is for chickens, especially Silkies. And yes, we noticed that when she got her implant, her breathing drastically improved, because there is a lot of pressure. The organs are placing a lot of pressure on her body to produce eggs. And really, it's not necessary. I don't think it's healthy nor happy for her to be, producing eggs. Especially if I can see that she's, like Nessie, was stressed, anxious. So yeah, we decided to get the implant. They usually last about 6 months, usually a little bit less. But yeah, she's happy. I noticed a difference in her feather quality because her body was no longer using whatever calcium reserve, vitamin, mineral reserve. And her feather quality she became shinier, fluffier. Yeah, and I noticed her feet. Hey, Pretzel. The feathers on her feet just bloomed. It was so bizarre. Her feet feathers.
Did she
I
get
don't know.
this? Usually, when they have, she needs to start on only feet.
Yeah, and only
But
feet, only fans for feet.
did she get this massive? Usually, when they get the implant for the first time, they get this massive molt with the implant. Did she get this?
Yeah, pretzels molted twice, once with the implant, and then when she got 2 vitamin A shots, she started molting like crazy, like crazy. But her feathers are growing back now, and I can see that their new feathers are coming through. Hi, she's loving that.
Does she? Do you know if she counts as a red silky or a partridge silky?
She would be, I would say she's a buff partridge. I don't think she's got a red. I don't know. I know that the lighting might look like a red, but I would say a buff partridge. Yeah.
Because her coloration is very unique. We don't have that coloration of silkies really in Sweden.
Yeah. Well, I have seen reds, I have seen buffs, but yeah, she's got she's got darker tail feathers. She's got a darker crest. Yeah. And she's also got her little, I call them like little tiger spots around the crop, just above her crop and around the neck.
You beautiful Pretzel.
Look at all your
How,
friends. They're here celebrating.
how are silkies in Australia? Are they cheap? Are they common?
Silkies in Australia are not very common and they're not very well known. So I get a lot of questions about Pretzel and the flock. Is it a cat? Is it a dog? What is it? It's a pretzel. It's a chicken. It's a silky chicken. So no, not very common. They can be quite expensive. I know one of the breeders here had sold one of his roosters for, I think it was just under $800. $800 for a rooster. But I think the average cost of a silkie, someone similar to Pretzel, non-bearded. She's got moderate silk. I would not say that this is a great quality silk. Sorry, Pretzel. Moderate silk, probably about $80, $90 for someone like for a puff like Pretzel.
That's what silk is, or the American silky, as we call them here, average on. Because the European silky is the one that's most common in Sweden, and the American silk is the breeders actually stop breeding because people don't want to pay that much for a chicken. So it's getting really hard to get American silkies in Sweden.
Yeah, it's hard to get them here. But if I were to show you the comparison between Pretzel and Pearl, and you'll see it when I upload photo, Pearl is just a ball and then a ball. She's got incredible silk. Her wings aren't very good. If I were to show her, she'd lose a lot of points. She's also got a double toe, so Pearl looks good. But if you were to put her in a lineup, she'd lose. They look good.
Actually,
They look fluffy.
The non-bearded variety as Pretzel are, you can't get them here in Sweden. I have never seen American silky without beard in Sweden. That's uncommon there.
Well, it's a lot harder to get bearded silkies here. So you can find non-bearded, but bearded silkies are very, very hard to find here.
But I think I got all the questions. Anything you want to add about your journey with the Pretzel or vitamin A or chicken keeping in general?
if you're thinking about getting a backyard pet and you're a gardener, you're outdoors and you have the time, you've got a bit of money, I would highly recommend getting 2 or 3 silkies. They're wonderful. They're so therapeutic. They're good with kids. They are intelligent. They're cuddly. Hi. They're cuddly, and they bring a lot of joy. And I think it's time that we start acknowledging how wonderful these animals are. They're not, cover your ears. They're not food. They're not just food. They are really lovely companions. Hi.
Uh, I guess you chose silkies for the same reason I chose silkies, due to their unique looks. It's hard
Yeah.
to any other reason to choose silkies. Because if
Mm.
you know how broody they are, a lot of people will not get silkies. I have 4 broodies at the moment.
Oh my goodness. Extra broodies.
Yeah, and they are laying on 2 eggs, should hatch any day if they have gone right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, I hope they
So I hope,
hatch
I hope
and they're
we get
healthy.
some babies.
Mm.
Yeah, but
But I would love,
thank you so much for doing this with me, and literally across the world. I guess you guys are going into summertime as we are going into wintertime.
Yep, we're enjoying the warmer months now, aren't we, Pretzel? Pretzel.
Yours have never seen the snow, I guess.
Yeah, no, never seen the snow, and in extreme weathers, we try to bring them inside. Oh, look, say hi, pretty soul. Hi, pretty soul.
Pretzel is famous.
Pretzel. I know, she's such a sweetie. You're such a
I
sweetie.
know you showing that you can have a blind chicken, and I also know the account Macy the blind hen. It really helped me when I got the diagnosis for Vanessa. That I knew that you can have a blind chicken and they can still live a happy life.
They sure can. They sure can. Oh, my chicken just went broody. Oh no. Oh, you could hatch some little chookies. Pretzel, one day I'm gonna hatch one of your babies. Yeah.
You haven't ever attempted to hatch one of your own eggs?
Not yet. We're definitely thinking about hatching some eggs. Doing it naturally though, no incubator, no artificial insemination. We'd like to do it. Going to build a coop, and when we build the coop, we will definitely try. And I really want a little baby Pretzel. Definitely going to try to encourage Pretzel to have a little chook. But one of the reasons why we don't breed is because to be a good breeder, and I know this is going to be hard for some people to hear, but to be a good breeder, you have to be able to cull. If you're hatching chooks that are sick or genetically predisposed to problems, it's not fair. There's no quality of life, and then you end up breeding this line that, just brings sadness upon everyone. So it's very important for a good breeder to be able to cull. I cannot do that. I don't have that. Oh, I know. I don't have that in. I couldn't do that. I would have a yard full of hundreds of silkies, and that's it. I could never give them away, and I could never kill them.
I usually never hatch if I don't know that if I could keep them, because I did sell 2 roosters before and it was so heartbreaking, so I told myself I will never sell a bird again. Every bird that hatch here will stay here. And to some encouragement that usually baby chicks that hatch naturally are mostly more healthy than they in an incubator. They usually have less problems, hatching problems.
Yeah, agreed. Very, very important.
I want to hatch one of Vanessa's sister, one of her eggs, so Vanessa can become an aunt.
Oh my goodness, she heard that.
What did you say?
She heard that. I heard her pipe up.
Yeah, she talks exactly like Pretzel, and yeah, I know one of the first videos I sent to you. They have so much alike in sound, and Vanessa have always been so vocal. Like you say, they become more vocal when they lose their sight.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do sound very similar. They have very similar tones.
But since I don't know if Vanessa's glaucoma is hereditary, I will never hatch one of her eggs. So
Yeah,
I'm very mindful with that, and I'm also mindful with her sister, eye problems on her sister, if it's hereditary, since they are hatchmates. Yeah.
yeah.
But I will not take up any more of your time. I really thank you for this, and you will help spread the word in Sweden about the blind chickens and vitamin A deficiencies.
Absolutely. Pretzel is a living, breathing proof. Vitamin A. Numero uno. Vitamin for chooks, especially silkies, vitamin A.